Hello everyone, this is Yaakuro with another UE4 tutorial. In this episode, we are going to continue with our VR project and we will focus today on the enemy actor class. For that, let's create a new C++ class, select the actor, and let's call this the enemy. I just realized when watching my previous video, I was testing the VR setting in my HTC and was saying, yeah, you can see that on the edges on the ground that the height is correct. Actually, you couldn't because I had the chaperone on my chaperone on my HTC Vive. I could see that, and you couldn't see that in the video, so sorry for that, but that should be correct. So we have now here our enemy class, and what do we need? So because we want to keep things simple, we're just going to add the collision box and the static mesh. Let's do that. View property visible anywhere again. Blueprint read only. Read only is okay. Then you box component. Then another one. You static mesh component. Oops. Let's call this just mesh. And now we're going to initialize this, create default sub object, then u box component text box component. Then we had our mesh default sub object static mesh component. Yeah. And shall we put this as root? Yeah, let's do that. Root component. That should be our box component. And the mesh is going to be attached to the box component. So let's compile this for now. Oh, we should do here some includes. Oh yeah, I forgot the declaration. Let's do that and include here components, box component. Yeah, you see already. Oops. We compile errors. Components. So, but now it should compile. Okay, hot reload worked. Now we have the basics. Let's check that. Let's create the blueprint version out of it. The enemy. Oops. Ah, come on. And open this. Yeah, okay, so we have the box component and the static mesh, and let's use here just a box. There was another one, I think cube. This one is okay. Let's scale this to 0.2 maybe, or maybe it's too small. Well, we'll see later. Oops. I mean, we could do all this thing now in the C++ level, but let's just do prototyping here. Yes, so let's adapt the box component. Okay. And let's enable the physics. Set simulate physics to true, the mesh, and disable the gravitation because we want it to float. Set up, I forgot it, set enable gravity to false. Okay, now what this enemy should do is just fly towards the player and hit him or her. To do that, we will give an impulse to the actor, and that should be just towards the direction the player is. So I would think like as soon as this enemy spawns, it should find out where is the player, find the vector that points to it, and apply a impulse to that direction. And we can make the impulse strength so that it is exposed to the editor and we can vary it. So let's say U property edit anywhere blueprint read write, and that's going to be float attack strength or something. And I didn't set those components to null, but let's give here, for example, 100 for now, and I don't know if that is too much or not. So, and how can we figure out where the player is? So there is a function in gameplay statics get player pawn, and here on the world context we can just pass this because this is an actor, or we could just say get world, but this is okay. And player index 0 because we are not going to do a multiplayer thing. We might do later, but for now that's okay to use a 0. So, and we get the player pawn, and using that we can calculate the direction. Let's do that. Player pawn get actor location minus, now we need the location of this enemy, that would be get actor location. And now I like to normalize this direction, so the player could be quite far away, or the actor, and the length of the vector we're going to use as the impulse, and that would be maybe too strong. So the more far away the enemy is from the player, the stronger the force field, also the impulse would be, and that's I don't want. So I want to set it manually, and this we just we'll use U Kismet math library. There's a function called normal, so that will make a unit vector out of it, hopefully. And then add impulse. And actually now I forgot the name. Let me wait a minute. Mesh add impulse. So name, bone name, velocity change. Yeah, this is what we want. So now we will do this. We set, oh, I wrote attach strings. This is wrong. Attack. Actually, we should just call it impulse strength or something. But for now, let's use this. Then the direction. And what was the second argument of this? So it's a vector impulse, then bone name and velocity change. Let's go to the declaration maybe, so we don't have to specify this nor this. That's okay. So that means that's cool. So we add the impulse, and yeah, that's it. Let's compile this and let's see. And because we used here edit anywhere, we are able to modify this property inside the editor. And blueprint read write means, again, inside the blueprint editor we can read, so we have a getter and setter to that variable and play around with that. So now we have an issue here. What? I see, we have to include that. Include gameplay statics. Okay, so I don't know where that was, and what I usually do is I just go to declaration gameplay statics, which is inside Kismet. Okay, just wonder if that is a module. I don't know it now by heart. So include gameplay statics. Let's try this. I think that will not work. I have to write here Kismet maybe. Yeah, not found. So this is under Kismet subclass, which is, let me check. That's under engine. So that means we are already adding this here as a public dependency, so we shouldn't have a problem including this. But this is under Kismet subfolder. So if we type here now Kismet, that should work. Okay, now I forgot semicolon. Where are you? Come on. Yes. Okay, one more try. And I hope the direction is so correct. So we are going from the oh yeah, now I forgot this one. But this time I think it is in the same subfolder. Here we go. Kismet math library. Actually, most of you might not know that this Kismet is actually a Turkish word for Kismet, which means destiny, I assume. So they use that for this class. Okay, so that seemed to work. Now we can test it. Let's drag this enemy here into the scene. And if we hit play, we don't see it moving. And now let's check why. So we have enable gravity. Oh, I see. Wait, so the base class isn't correct anymore. We have to do that. I don't know how to refresh that, so if someone knows that, please feel free to leave me a comment. Blueprint, the enemy. Okay, and this time it should. Let's use the cube. Scale it this time to 0.2. And the box component might be 10 or something. Yeah. So let's check. So this time physics should be enabled. Enable gravity is on false because we set it here. Okay, cool. Now if we drag this, oh, this is quite small. Maybe we should make that a bit bigger. Let's start. And you can slightly see that it is moving towards us. So that's the reason why we did this. Let's go to class defaults, and here under the enemy details field we can change the strength. Let's say 500 units, and you can see it's flying towards the player. Yoo-hoo! Okay, cool. Yes, so let's say that's enough for this episode, else it's going to be long. We have to do a few other things with the enemy. So right now it's just as soon as it spawns, the player it will fly towards the player, but we want to do more random spawning, and the time interval should change too to make it more interesting. Yeah, so that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and hopefully seeing you in the next episode.